Hello, my name is Matthew, and my little book channel had recently reached 1,400 subscribers, and I made a video asking if anybody had any questions, a Q&A video to see if there was interest, and I got a great response, and I thought this afternoon we could go through the questions. I wrote them all out, and I should start by saying thank you again and expressing my gratitude for everyone who's spent time watching any of my videos. I hope there's been some pleasure or enjoyment involved. It's certainly really fun for me. And there's a lot of people, new people watching now. So hello and welcome and thank you. So I'll just start reading the questions and we'll go from there. The first question is by Suhishan Bandari. Why do you like reading? And I think it's such a great question to ask. I'm always interested in how other people respond to questions like that. And I don't have anything great to say. It's my favorite leisure activity. It's how I prefer to relax, and it's my favorite vehicle of entertainment and instruction. It's so transportative. I don't know if that's the right word. And it gives me everything that I want. My old friend Bob used to tell me that, like, some of the greatest minds that had ever lived were writing things down, and you have access to them. I just love that. But yeah, it just gives me everything. Chase Owen. Have you ever read the works of the playwright Sarah Ruhl? She is one of my favorite modern playwrights. I highly recommend Eurydice. And I accidentally replied to it because I forgot that it was a comment from my Q&A video. But anyway, I have not read Sarah Ruhl, and I've never even heard of her. So thank you for the recommendation. I'll keep an eye out, and if I ever see it, I'll definitely look into it. So thank you, Chase Owen. Finn McCarthy. What three Russian novels have been most influential to you? Keep up the good work. Thank you. If you've been watching my channel, the first and most obvious, most influential Russian work would be the Karamazov brothers by Dostoevsky. And I could probably do just three Dostoevsky novels, but I'll say the Karamazov brothers, maybe Fathers and Sons by Turgenev, which I thought was such a great bridge from Russian literature to French literature. It feels very European for a Russian novel. And one of my other favorite Russian novels, which is slightly controversial depending on where you stand on it, but is Dead Souls by Gogol. And here's the thing, Gogol is Ukrainian. He's a Ukrainian writer who wrote in Russian. Somebody reamed me out about that because I forgot to make the distinction, but it's in the Russian language, and so he's one of my favorite Ukrainian writers. Lukman Wakar. What do you make of Mann's contemporary and friend Herman Hesse? Favorite novels of his? Any you wish to read? P.S. When can we expect a review of The Magic Mountain? I like Herman Hesse. I'm not a big fan of Siddhartha. I read it, 10, 15 years ago. It didn't make a big impression on me, but I've read a few other things. Steppenwolf comes to mind, which I thought was terrific. I'm trying to think. The Glass Bead Game was also quite good. I think Steppenwolf was probably my favorite. And is it Damien? I like Damien. I think it's called Damien. Damien was good too. And I would love to read more. I know that he has. Um, I've recently learned that he was also a poet, so that'd be interesting to read in translation, of course. Um, and when can we expect a review of The Magic Mountain? This is one of my favorite novels, and for the past maybe 2 years, it's been on the back burner of a reread. And I keep thinking that I want to get back to it. Sometimes I think maybe I want to read Buddenbrooks, maybe I want to read Dr. Faustus. Um, but yeah, I think maybe at the beginning of next year, Magic Mountain sort of lends itself to a winter novel. So maybe in the winter months I'll reread it and then we can talk about it. Um, Mercelin Mozadaki. Sorry about I'm sorry about all of these names. I'm, I'm not really good at pronouncing things. Would you say your reading taste is limited to American, Europe centric? Would you be interested in expanding on it? And yeah, sure. I mostly have experience with the Western canon. Um, I'm not so sure. I guess we sort of clump in all the Russian novels, but I mean, I don't know if they're just distinctly Russian or Asian or European or whatever. But yeah, as far as it goes, I've read nothing. Um, if we think about literature globally, I basically know nothing about Asian literature or South American literature or African literature, Canadian literature. Um, there's just and tons of Europe, even in Europe. There's tons of these little countries. Like I don't know anything about Polish literature. I've never read. I don't know if I've read any Icelandic literature or Swedish or whatever. Liechtenstein. How many Liechtensteinian novels have I read? Um, I mostly stick with English speaking America, England, Ireland, Scotland, um, and then in translation, uh, Spain, Mexico, France, Germany, Russia, but it's extremely limited in every sense of the word. And I almost every day I try to work on expanding that, um, but it's a bottomless well. You could just read forever and not leave Ireland. So it kind of depends on where my focus is at the time. Um, I spent the better part of this year reading the Norton Anthology, which I still need to get back to, but um, that's an example of just being stuck, for lack of a better phrase, in England. And they were stealing the Irish too, which I noticed. Um, Alejandro Trejos, what books you wish you had read early in your life? Greetings from Costa Rica. Well, that's awesome. Hello. I didn't read as a teenager, and I don't have too much regret. It's not something that I think about. Um, I don't remember YA novels being around at the time. I guess maybe they were, but they seem much more present nowadays. And I don't know if I would have been better or worse off reading YA. I know a lot of people kind of get stuck in that genre. Skajor der Svartorsk Ikjan. I'm really sorry. I don't know how to say it. Can you read in any can you read in any other language aside English? If no, have any interest in learning one? If so, which one? Yeah, I only barely speak English, and I would love to be able to speak other languages. If I could choose one, it would be French. I go on and off um, attempting to learn French. Um, Recently, I've been watching French Booktubers, which has been great. Um, I don't know what they're saying, but it's such a beautiful language. I just like listening to musicality and the fluidness of their language. What is your educational background? I'm a college graduate. Had nothing to do with literature. Do you use metric or nonsensical measures? Nonsensical. Amelia reads, what are some pet peeves? What are some pet peeves you have with books, reading wise or book wise? And I really don't like it if I feel like the author is talking down to me. It's such a bad experience if I feel like I'm being insulted or treated like an idiot or something. And I feel like you can feel it, so I don't like that. And I remember years ago, I had a book on a table. I was sitting at a coffee shop with a bunch of people, a few people that I knew and a couple people that I didn't. And somebody sat down and just casually put his hand on my book that was on the table. And with his thumb, he would drag up on the corner of the pages. So it would go like this. But it was a big, thick book, so you could get a great, like a great wave of pages going up, and then it would slap down, and then a great big wave of pages going up and slap down. And he did that for a few seconds, and I just exploded. I was so angry. Deborah McDonald, which Sir Walter Scott books have you read, and where should I start with his novels? Congratulations, well deserved, Deb. Thank you. I've read a good handful. Waverly, Ivanhoe, Rob Roy, The Antiquary, Old Mortality. I don't know, maybe another one. I've read a bunch of them. And if I was to recommend a good place to start, it sort of depends. Ivanhoe and Rob Roy are arguably the two most popular nowadays. So they can be, they're all great fun to read, but you might already know bits of the story, and it might be easier to talk about with other people possibly. But Waverly is also a great start, and it's Walter Scott's first novel, and it's great. Manuel Fisher, congrats. I have 2 questions. Do you annotate your books? And next I'll ask a non-book related question for a change. What kind of music do you listen to? I tend to keep my books clean. I wish I kept a commonplace book. Maybe that's something that I should just start doing immediately, but no, I don't annotate my books. And I don't know what's going on, but maybe for the past almost this whole year, I've almost completely stopped listening to music. The cats listen to more music than I do. I put on classical before I leave the house for work. But really just whatever's on the radio, I guess. The Book Traveler. Hello, Matthew. Do you think if I acquire a couple of gorgeous cats that I will have as many subscribers as you? And if you watched the 1400 Q&A video, I had Daphne on a pedestal right here, and she just decided to stand up and start sniffing my head, and it was really cute, and I thought it was hilarious. But Alan, this is Alan from the Book Traveler, is one of my favorite people that I've met on BookTube. He has his own book channel. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should. It's great. I love listening to Alan talk about books, and he's just funny and intelligent. It's been at least a month since we've had a new Book Traveler video, so Alan, you need to work on that. Al Aleph, how can we get a heads up as to when you'll do a live chat? I don't know how to do a live chat. I haven't really thought about it. I do want to do those Zoom chats, which will be pre-recorded, but I'm still having technical issues with that, and I don't want to get into that here, but I don't know if I get the Zoom chat sorted out, maybe I'll figure out how to do a live chat with somebody. And I guess if I do, I'll make an announcement video. Maybe I'll do it that way if I ever do. Totally pretentious. Congratulations. Thank you. What was the inspiration, if any, for Andy and Daphne's name? So, Andy's full name is Sheriff Andy Taylor, and it's from the Andy Griffith Show. And Daphne's full name is Daphne Moon, and that is from Frasier. And Daphne Moon was Frasier's housekeeper. If Daphne had been a boy, her name would have been Barney. Gigi Sky, how do you manage to find the time to read? What is your favorite literary character and why? At this point, I'm basically a recluse. Other than work, I don't leave the house. And it's not that I find the time, but I make it basically my number one priority. I read every morning, and I read before bed. I don't have a television or a computer or my phone in bed. I have a loft bedroom there. So yeah, I kind of have designed a lifestyle in order to read. And what is your favorite literary character and why? Maybe Odysseus. I'll give you a funny one. Bartleby from Bartleby the Scrivener. It's about a copy clerk who gets a job and then slowly decides to stop working, and his boss is getting more and more harried by Bartleby's constant refrain. Every time he's asked to do something, Bartleby will say, "Well, I prefer not to." It's great. Lou Bookworm, congrats. I'm Louis from Spain. I'm curious to know what Booktubers were the first you started to follow, and if you follow TV or radio programs on books. I'll stop there for the moment. I think Eric Carl Anderson was the first proper booktuber that I found, and I still I've been watching his videos for I guess years now, and Eric has always been really good company. And another booktuber, if you call him that, is the Better Than Food guy. I think he has Sargent in his name. And I found him early on. I don't really watch his videos anymore, and I don't want to be critical, but the editing, at some point they were so heavily edited where words were spliced together to create sentences that it was just too jarring for me. But as soon as I got my foot in the door into this booktube world, I just found so many people that are fantastic to watch. I don't know anything about radio or TV, booktube, or book-related things, so I don't know about that. My last curiosity for now is, what is your favorite authors with a cat as a pet? And I'm not really sure. The most famous author that I can think about is Hemingway. I know he had those Hemingway cats that had the six-toed paws. But off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Scallydandling about... Gosh. Scallydandling about the books. Congrats, Matthew. Do you have any new directions you want to pursue in your reading in the next couple of years, and why? And yes, I want to read more nonfiction. I want to read history. It's something that's always very close to the forefront of my attention. When for all of the reading that I've done, sometimes I have these moments where I have to have a realization that I still basically don't know anything, and it's crazy to me. Even some of my favorite periods line up with the arts or literature, but it's just such a small fraction of the whole of the story, and I really want to work on it. I think I just want to focus on Roman history, just because I have a little bit of a handhold on that era, and I know there's a lot of good books that I can acquaint myself to. So, kind of uh, either history or just in general nonfiction. Um, Also, how do I clone Daphne when I finally lose my dear, very elderly cat Minerva? Um, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but um, have we seen Minerva on screen? Now I can't remember. I would like to, if we haven't. But Daphne's mine. Um, Danica Hawley, congratulations. Daphne is just adorable, no question, but thank you. Jonathan, local bookstores or Amazon? I'm finding that local bookstores just order from their suppliers, and by the time it gets to the store, I could have already had my book from Amazon already. Um, I buy from Amazon. I go back and forth, but there's something great about wandering around a bookstore. Amazon's good if you already know what you want, I guess. Game of Authors. Congratulations, Matthew. Thank you. Who is your favorite 19th century American author? Herman Melville, just on Moby Dick alone, but he has a bunch of other writings, and um, I like a lot of his seafaring stories. Moby Dick is on a whole other level, though. Ashley Kinninger. So this is in quotes as if it's Daphne. Sorry, Dad, you're making a video, but I'm still going to sniff you. And that goes back to the original video with Daphne. Di Silencio. Gosh. Okay, I'm actually going to call this one, and then we'll do a two-parter. So I guess I'll be right back.